So it was around 6 years ago when COVID started that I decided to start working out. And the video that I'm going to use as a thumbnail and the photo that I have up there was just before I had started working out, a time when I was a bit more carefree, but I was also quite anxious and I probably had some sort of an eating disorder because I basically wasn't eating. And there were times where I would actually starve myself, because when I was 13, I thought that if I just stopped eating, I would eventually just die. And I found that that didn't really work because eventually I would get hungry and I would eat stuff. But I thought that, you know, it would kind of solve my problem of having to be alive, basically. And I think that kind of made me malnourished and didn't lead me to grow as much. Like, I didn't grow until I was about 16 or 17 and I shot up. Like, I, I shot up maybe I don't know how much it would have been, but it would have been a lot, at least 20 centimeters in a couple of years. And I'm not super tall, but I probably could have been taller if I had have ate proper when I was growing. And that time that when I was growing was when I was working out and I was eating a bit better. I had a bit more of an appetite because I was doing more. So for a lot of my life, I thought that I wasn't really going to change. I thought that things were kind of going to almost stay the same. It was just kind of like this latent idea that was in the back of my mind. And it wasn't until that I started working out during that COVID period that I realized that I could make a change in my body and in the way that I felt. And of course, it took several months to actually kind of see progress from this. And I'll go on to the next. This was during that COVID kind of time where I just started to see like a bit of progress. I was starting to feel better. But I was really impatient with my results. And so, even though I was enjoying the workouts for the first year or so, I was doing what I wanted. I literally started because I did not have dumbbells. And I didn't have enough money to buy them at that time, but I eventually did. And I still have that same pair from 6 years ago. But I had water containers and I filled them up with water and I would use them to do bicep curls too. And I would lean on a bucket to do like squats, split squats, or to do like a bench press and that kind of stuff. And I would do like, I would like invent exercises. I did this one where I'd have like the container out here and I'd do like bicep curls like that. I was just playing around and like having a lot of fun doing the workouts. And I had this book that I would write what I did in, and I wasn't following I wasn't following a program or anything. I was just watching videos like, oh, that exercise looks cool. I want to do that one. And I was just kind of working out pretty often. I'd say that I was doing it about 5 or 6 days a week, as well as doing schoolwork and as well as doing some music. But my mental health wasn't great, but at least I was having that kind of outlet. I had this hobby that I could spend my time doing and that I had a lot of fun doing. But after a while, I started to realize that if I wanted to make change, if I wanted to actually see more progress, I had to follow a program. And so I started to get more serious about it and try to create the perfect program. But I was also playing soccer at the time, so I wasn't gaining a whole lot of weight. So I was feeling kind of demotivated because I felt like I was doing so much. I was definitely doing too much, like doing soccer training, doing my own individual training, trying to do that every day, on top of working out and then working as well. And I would work at 6, so I would get up at 4 a.m. to do half an hour of juggling and then do an hour workout before going to work. And I would be completely exhausted and I'd get sick every month because I wasn't getting enough sleep, I wasn't getting enough nutrition, and I was overstressing myself and my body. And it was not consistent. I was not doing that every day. I was trying to do that as often as I could. And I learned a lot of strength and stuff from that, but I realized like you've got to prioritize feeling better and doing the things that you enjoy. Like, sure, working out lifting weights and that kind of thing, there's a part to it that sucks, of course. It's hard to get the motivation to get yourself out there and do it. And then once you're doing it, sometimes it can be quite painful. It can really suck doing some exercises. But it doesn't have to be complete suffering. And I thought that that was how it had to be. I thought that I had to try so hard to reach these idealistic standards. The more that I got into watching workout content and learning about stuff, the deeper I got into it and the more I got bogged down by it, because you'd see these people that are taking stuff and you think that that's achievable for you. And as you can see, like, I'm a very skinny, kind of naturally skinny person. And of course I didn't eat a lot and I never had a really big appetite. So I have to kind of schedule in ways to eat and that kind of thing. And that kind of forced myself to eat a lot to build up like my stomach and to like start eating enough to grow muscle. But eventually, over this past year, I was able to work out a lot more consistently. I was doing it at a higher intensity. That's another photo from a few years ago when I was doing workouts, but this is the most recent one when I was around the peak, and I wasn't happy and I hadn't realized how much muscle that I had built. Like, when I was that skinny kid at the start, all I wanted was for my elbows to not be so knobbly, to like stick out so much, and for me to actually see like a bit of my bicep muscle, like, rather than this tiny thin strand. Because when I flexed it, like on the side where you can just see like a little bit of it there, it was so skinny, it was so small. It was just like this little tiny thread of it. And I was just like, if I could get that to be as wide as my elbow, or just twice as wide even, I would be pretty happy with that. And I definitely reached that, and I definitely gained a lot of muscle. I gained about 20 kilos. I was 55 kilos at the start when I was under eating at the start of COVID. And then, slowly over time I built up weight, but then I kind of plateaued around, I think it was around mid 65 or something after a while. And then over the next few years, I had built up enough, maybe 3 years, to get another 10 kilos. And at my best, which was around there, I think I was around 76, 77 kilos. And of course now I'm not able to work out. And this whole idea for this video came from me when I got my cast off, and I looked at my forearm when I got the cast off and I got this new one. And I saw how skinny my forearm had become, and I realized, like, I hadn't seen it that skinny for years, and I hadn't realized how much progress that I had been making, because all I could see when I looked at myself was all of the flaws. I saw like the dip in my chest muscles don't look good enough, my back doesn't look wide enough, my arms are nowhere near big enough. And all I could see was how bad I was doing. I didn't see the progress that I myself had made from the start to the finish. Like, from this first photo and trying out, and then slowly, because it takes a lot of time, especially the way that I was doing it trying to play soccer. But that's a huge difference. But since it was so slow, I hadn't registered it, and I was comparing myself to all these kind of bodybuilders that were like huge, like, if you've seen like Chris Bumstead, he's humongous, like his arms are like as big as my legs, which is just kind of crazy to think of. But these people, that's like their job. They're at the elite, and they're taking the best supplements, the best diet. They can put all of their energy into their training, and they've been building this up for years, and they probably have a better body type for building muscle, and also they're taking substances as well, whether that's steroids, testosterone, some sort of peptide, those kind of things. And now on social media, you can still see a lot of those things, like, people claim that they're natural, but they're taking testosterone or they're taking a peptide which is enhancing their physiques. And it causes this body dysmorphia for a lot of men that I know that some men can really struggle with, because you see what these people are saying is natural and normal, and you can see that they've made a lot of progress, and it seems to be like realistic. It's like, oh, why can't I do that? Maybe I need to do their program. Maybe I need to follow what they're doing. And then I've tried that out, and I tried following it, and it never really stuck for me because I was trying to do too much, and I was never happy with how much progress I was making. I was never happy with how my workouts were going. And, I felt like I just had to suffer so much just to reach this kind of goal. And that first year of me working out, when I was just using those water containers, like, that seems kind of pathetic, but that was when I was having the most fun. And the first time that I got my dumbbells and the bench, I was so happy. And I just wanted to use them all the time because I was excited, and I just wanted to explore this kind of new thing. And I wanted to, just do it for the fun of it rather than needing to get these results. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of need to learn. And it's taken me 6 years to realize this, and to like break my wrist for it to be taken away from me, to realize how much it means to me and what it can mean to people and what's actually important about it. Because sure, there's the nice benefit of looking better. I guess that's kind of, you could say it's narcissistic or selfish or whatever. But I like to feel good. Gives me this sense of confidence. I like to see a change in myself. I like to feel like I can do something that's going to have an impact on my future. And, just looking back at some of my videos and realizing, wow, like, my shoulders were a lot bigger than I thought they were. My forearms were a lot bigger than I thought they were. And then realizing, like, at that moment, I wasn't happy and I wasn't enjoying the process of working out and building that muscle, because I was so concentrated on this idealized standard that I had set for myself, this expectation. And I'm not saying that you should not have goals or not have high expectations for yourself and not do things that are hard and that take discipline. But it shouldn't be suffering. There should be some sort of element of enjoyment to it, like that first couple years when I was working out and I was enjoying it. Because at the end of the day, that's what's gonna make you more consistent with it overall, and that's what's gonna make you feel better and have more confidence in the real world. And another thing that I want to touch on this about kind of men's body dysmorphia and health and that kind of thing is with relationships and women, because as a guy you think, oh, I have to be, there's kind of like this narrative, whereas if you're a kind of an insecure person like me and you're kind of skinnier, you don't have the best body, there's kind of this idea that these muscular people push, these, whatever that you want to call them, red pillars or whatever, that are like really jacked, and you can see them like getting a lot of women or whatever. And you think that, oh, I have to reach that body standard to then even have the ticket of being able to see women. And that's just completely not true. That's like finding this roundabout way of trying to get women without actually having to face the fear of having to talk to women and having to get yourself out there in dating experiences, which can be really daunting for people that don't have a lot of self-confidence or see themselves in a really bad way like I did. And these people are preying on that feeling of insecurity. That's why they're taking all these drugs and saying that they're natural, because the insecure people are attaching to that like I did, and they're like, oh my God, this is like the ideal. These people have it figured out, they're confident. I just need to get jacked and then I'm going to get all the women that I want, or I'm going to get the most beautiful women that I want, and then my life is going to be amazing. So these people have this thing and they're preying on that insecurity. They're not solving it. They're using it to get you to watch more of their content and to buy more of their things. So yeah, when I can finally start, when I have to do rehab on this, I'm gonna have to do rehab for my hand to get it back up before I can start lifting weights again, which could be at least another couple months. I think 2 months at least before I can start lifting weights, and that's probably going to be very lightweight with this left hand. But I'm going to try and keep this lesson and use it for when I continue doing workouts, because I still think it's something that I want to continue and that I have enjoyed in the past. And yeah. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.